Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's doing well. We're going to let a few more folks file in. Uh, my name is Matt Griffin. I'm joined here by John Kemper and Todd. Both of you say hello to the good people out there.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be back with you talking about storms and severe weather.
Yeah, good for me to be with both of you guys and everybody here at BAM Weather. My first live stream with you guys, so super happy to be here. Glad we're not talking about a major severe weather outbreak here going forward, but still some significant weather here to talk about as we go into Thursday and Friday morning.
Yeah, we've got a couple shots of rain and storms beginning, especially getting into Thursday overnight into Friday morning. That's going to be wave number one. As we get into Friday PM, we're going to have wave number two, and then another wave getting into. There's Michael.
What's up,
Getting
Michael?
into Saturday as well. So we've got a couple shots of rain and some storms. Some severe weather is going to be possible. But what I'm most concerned about is the heavy rain and flash flooding that's going to be possible upcoming. What do you guys think?
I was just coming to say welcome to Todd on the live. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be in the jungle. It's kind of felt like out there last week with the heat and humidity, but
I love it. Enjoy, fellas.
Thank you.
See you guys.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at some modeling and some more details and information on the forecast moving forward. So I'm going to share my screen for us, and I'm going to start things off with a couple of our maps that primarily fellow meteorologist Brett Waltz made this morning, and we're starting things off with the Thursday, the overnight into Friday morning severe risk. Now you can see where we have the highest corridor of severe weather. That does include Indianapolis, Bloomington, Evansville, Louisville, then west towards St. Louis, Springfield, Peoria, into Illinois. Note we do have in the text isolated tornadoes, but gosh, I think the threat for a tornado is very, very low in this case. If we recall back to some of the crazy severe weather we had in June, those were associated with more bona fide low pressure systems, and certainly we had a little bit more spin in the atmosphere. This is primarily going to be a heavy rain in wind deal, just a very low risk for tornadoes. So I don't want to get anyone, particularly too up at arms for the tornadic risk when it is going to be primarily a severe weather risk. In addition to that, I am concerned about the flooding, and some areas in these similar areas where we have the dark shade of green have absolutely gotten hammered since really June with some heavy rain. In fact, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, John? Some areas getting around 10 inches of rain in southern Indiana. I know there's been very heavy rain elsewhere, including that of southern Illinois. And so the soils, unfortunately, are primed with any type of heavy rain. And considering we have multiple shots of heavy rain in some of these areas, certainly a concern. I do want to show us getting into Friday afternoon into the overnight. We have yet another round of strong to severe storms that'll be possible. Right now, we're thinking this is just primarily a wind gust threat. Can't rule out some hail in it as well. But again, with this risk, we've got another round of flooding that's going to be possible as well. So severe storms, heavy rain, you name it. Let's take a look at some of the modeling with this. And we're going to start things off. We're going to look at this FE3 model product. And note the times are in the top right-hand corner for us so you can follow along a little bit better with us. But let's kind of zip things forward out into tomorrow afternoon. And what you'll notice as we get towards about 4 p.m., getting towards 7 p.m., we've got these storms that really start to flare up getting into Illinois, especially some of these storms, Champaign south towards the I-70 corridor, towards Mount Vernon in southern Illinois. We've got some additional scattered storms really from Detroit, near Fort Wayne, near Peru, and then Chicago into southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois as well. And these storms at this point will pose a risk for some strong to severe storms. I do want to note out ahead, there is a small risk for a pop-up type of thunderstorm. You can see the indications here near Bloomington towards Columbus. I do think coverage out in front of this main wave will be rather sparse, but don't let your guards down completely, especially getting into the early evening if you're into Indiana, into Ohio in particular. Now, wind gusts will be the main deal. Can't rule out an isolated tornado at this point, and these storms will be capable of producing just some very heavy downpours with this. This is as we get towards about 7 p.m., getting into tomorrow evening. And with time, these continue to barrel on to the east. This is as we get towards 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. You can start to see it's moving through Indianapolis, Louisville, towards Lexington at this point. This will be the first wave of storms. I don't think we're quite done after this. Now, it is an overnight event, right? A lot of us will be sleeping at this point. So for some of us, this could be good sleeping weather. But obviously, you want to have a way to receive alerts. And in fact, our band weather application, we've got the QR code in the top right-hand corner. You can scan that. We actually have 25% off right now. That deal ends at midnight. So I would suggest you guys taking advantage now while we have that sale still ongoing. But look what happens as we get beyond 11 p.m. And John, maybe you can talk about this a little bit more. We start to see a reemergence of storms start to fire up, getting into 2 a.m. towards about 5 a.m., getting into Friday morning. And you can see where this is near Evansville, near Vincennes, near St. Louis, and then south. And I'm concerned, especially in this particular setup, we can get some training of some thunderstorms. So I'm certainly concerned about some flash flooding. In my opinion, by the time we get to this point, strong to severe storms will be a little bit more limited than that first wave I just discussed, but certainly some heavy rain and some flooding issues will be possible.
Absolutely, Matt. And Thursday night into Friday morning, this is not the first time over the past month we've seen a system where training storms are capable. So some of you down there, southwestern Indiana, southeastern Illinois, definitely familiar with this type of setup. Our concern is that we see the storms work through Thursday evening, produce what's called an outflow boundary or a gust front. And while that can lead to strong to severe gusts, of course, likely that will shift a little bit more to the south and start to stall out near the Ohio River I-64 corridor. My concern is with a strong low-level jet, which is another source of energy and moisture coming from west to east, that can pump up, or excuse me, southwest to northeast, that can pump up those additional downpours and storms that can just sit over the region. So models are, the blend of models that Matt will show here shortly, is definitely seeing some potential for 2 to 3 plus. But these types of setups can lead, unfortunately, Matt and Todd, to situations where we can see 5 or 6 plus in a very localized streaks across the region. So I think the greater concern for this event is more the flash flooding again versus the severe winds. So just something we'll have to watch. But Friday AM commute for sure. It just wouldn't surprise me at this point to see some additional roadways closed and concerns.
Yeah, and in regards to this particular area, you can see I've got things stopped around 5 a.m. Eastern, getting into Friday morning. This particular area, I will admit, looking at some of the modeling right now, there's some variation, right? You can see this particular model, which I prefer something that looks like this. There is a risk that this actually shifts a little bit further to the south, and it may be more confined into, say, western Kentucky into southeastern Missouri versus southern Illinois, and even southern Indiana. So we'll be watching the trends with that closely, but keep in mind, guys, the atmosphere is going to be loaded with moisture. I mean, there's just going to be a ton of moisture to tap into with the system. We're getting into July. We've got that July heat to work with as well. So certainly multiple different signs for some flooding. And given how much rain some of these areas have already had, maybe some significant flooding. Now, we move things along through Friday morning, and what you'll notice is this continues to move southeast with time. This is towards about 8 a.m., towards about 12 p.m. That's going to set the stage for yet another round as we get into Friday afternoon and Friday evening. In fact, the very tail end of this model, you can see, once again, it's starting to fire up some storms in very similar areas we talked about. Some of these spots right into here, and I think there's a little bit of some influence from the previous day storms producing a boundary here. What I don't want us to sleep on is if you're kind of in this particular area right into here, I would say, watch this area closely for some poppers, some pop-up thunderstorms getting into Friday, late afternoon into the evening. I know this model is pretty blank in Kokomo, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Muncie. Not every single model is like that. I do think the coverage, in my opinion, is a little bit more sparse there, but I don't think you're completely out of the woods in terms of those pop-ups because there is a front which will actually be draped a little bit further north than where I think the main show of the rainstorms will be. In my opinion, getting into Friday afternoon, Friday evening, maybe a stronger storm. Maybe you can get some wind gusts to 40 miles per hour. But as far as overall substantial severe threat, I think that's mainly confined to the south in that map I kind of started the stream up with. Now, we're at the very tail end of this particular model. As we get towards 8 p.m. getting into Friday, I'm actually going to switch things up to another model, and this is the GFS model. It's not a high-res model. We're kind of right outside the high-res modeling range at this point, but I am concerned through Friday evening getting into Saturday morning. You see these darker shades of red and yellows into southern Illinois and Indiana. Again, in particular, that continues to track south and east with time. This is as we get towards about 11 a.m. getting into Saturday morning. Another round of some strong to severe storms. Again, wind gusts will be the main deal. Flooding, can't rule out some hail right now. I think we avoid the tornadic risk with this particular episode. But yeah, getting into Saturday morning, there could still be a few showers and a few storms further north towards, say, like in Indianapolis, towards the Springfield, Illinois, Canton, Ohio at this point. And then in the heels of this system, we have yet another wave that we'll need to track closely getting into Saturday afternoon. Again, you can see some storms firing up here into southern Indiana. My one concern with this particular model would not be shocked if it can trend south a little bit when all is said and done. Todd, you and I kind of discussed this before we hopped on the stream, but I do want to show the rainfall totals with this. And this is a blend of models. We're looking at the BAM weather app and what it's showing. It's trying to suggest, and keep in mind, a blend of models suggestive of near 4 inches of rain in some spots. Todd, I wouldn't be shocked if some areas in southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and then getting into Kentucky can see 3 to 5+ inches of rain as we head throughout the weekend.
Yeah, and that's the last thing they want to hear, right? We've been through this numerous times now here throughout the course of June and July, and as we kind of work our way through the summer, you had all that flooding down in Corden earlier this summer when they saw 6 to 10 inches of rain, and here we go again. And I think the big key, right, as you talked about, Matt, is going to be once we work our way into early Friday morning. Again, where does that front set up? Because if it sets up there right along the Ohio River once again, and we get these storms with all the available moisture in the atmosphere, just kind of wring that out. It's going to put down copious amounts of rain in a very short period of time on already saturated ground, and that's exactly what we don't need. So certainly, we talked about it earlier. Yes, there's the wind threat here. The hail threat kind of is diminishing. The tornado threat's very, very low. But when all is said and done, I think unfortunately we're going to be talking about some heavy rainfall. And even before we get to early Friday morning, as Matt, you were showing earlier, you get those isolated storms in the afternoon and late afternoon, early evening hours tomorrow. And then you get into portions of late Thursday evening into Friday, even outside of the area you just highlighted there with the 5-6 inches of rain. Notice those yellow contours kind of come up towards Indianapolis as well. And into that area. And even the 4th of July weekend, we had really heavy downpours and some strong, severe storms there. John and I were talking. We were up in Hamilton County over the holiday weekend, and I noticed in the farmers' fields and in the gullies there, standing water after that. One storm wasn't even severe. It just put down a lot of rainfall there near Morse Reservoir, Cicero, down into Noblesville. So, this atmosphere is just primed for some really, really heavy rainfall here. And that's definitely going to be, I think, potentially our biggest concern going forward here through the remainder of the week and into the weekend.
And that's a good point, Todd. Obviously, this area is of great concern, right? And maybe I should use a different color. Let's use blue. It'll pop a little bit better. But obviously, this area, it's the very bright colors, right? And certainly an area I'm most concerned about. But given the nature of the atmosphere, even further to the north, where we see some of these brighter colors, there can be some more localized, heavier pockets still further to the north, right? I don't think these will be particularly fast-moving storms, so they're going to be slow. They're going to be very efficient rainmakers. So yeah, you could get some flooding further to the north as well. I do want to show us the observed rainfall over the last couple of days. Let's see if I can bring that up for us. And this is over the past, okay, so this is over the past 7 days. So we're missing a little bit of some of that heavier rain, which fell prior to the 7 days. But look at some of these areas in southern Illinois and western Kentucky. I mean, I've already gotten 3 to 4 inches of rain locally in some spots. let alone, again, prior to that 7-day, the observed 7-day rainfall, some spots getting, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of rain or more. Certainly a concern with this particular system. A couple of things to note as well, and this is kind of we're looking at the probability of 2 inches or more in a 48-hour time frame from the blend of models. And you've got over about half of the models suggestive of 2+ inches of rain. Keep in mind, we are just outside of the high res window for the rainfall totals to really go into the blend. And the fact that it's already showing this is a pretty impressive signal. Okay. So again, if you're in Southern Illinois, Southern Indiana, portions of Western Kentucky, you need to be paying attention to the forecast the next couple of days, because I do think the rain can be pretty dangerous upcoming with some of these systems. So again, just to kind of recap for some of us, the severe threat Thursday PM into Friday morning. Again, the yellow area, in our opinion, the highest risk for strong to severe storms. Wind gusts will be the primary factor with this. Cannot rule an isolated tornado, maybe some isolated instances of some hail. Again, just to calm everyone down, I think the tornado risk is very low with this particular system. Again, we've got some flooding risk as well with this, which we are especially concerned about. This is Thursday PM into Friday morning, and then yet another round getting into Friday PM. We may shift this a little bit when all is said and done, north or south. We'll see how the data trends with this. But again, looks like primarily a wind gust deal, and yet another round, unfortunately, some flooding Friday PM into really Saturday PM with additional rounds of storms upcoming. I do want to look into some of the questions that we have and see if anyone has any questions. Reminder for everyone, we do have a sale ongoing of our BAM Weather app, 25% off. You can scan that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Great time to take an opportunity. We're going to be tracking this over the next couple of days with everyone. And now's the time to check that out for us.
Well, Matt's looking over some of the questions. There was a couple already about, can this shift from my area? Can this go south? Can this go north? One thing I want to bring up as well is the severe event, in my opinion, tonight into the Central Plains area. I think that can have some impacts on the forecast for tomorrow. If there's any type of MCV, matter, Todd, or any type of energy that can be shifted or moved further to the east or southeast, the models will react to that as we get later on this evening. My shift just started an hour ago, so I get the honor of seeing how this evolves over the next 10 to 12 hours. So I'm actually excited about that, because we'll get the first round of evening data in and adjust those graphics as needed. But I think this is a setup Thursday through Saturday, where if you have outdoor events, the takeaway is you need to be prepared for storms every day, and that each previous day's event will help dictate how the system as a whole will trend to the south or to the east as we continue. So that's why, just to reiterate what Matt mentioned with this sale, we are conveying those updated thoughts frequently in the BAM Weather application, not just through our insights, but our nowcasts and our video updates as well. We're not reading off a percentage, 30 to 40% chance. We're telling you what we actually think will happen. So great.
That's a good point. That's a great point, John. And this is certainly one of those patterns where Mother Nature's it's a domino effect, right? The first system is going to impact the second system, which impacts the third system, so on and so forth. So how the first system plays out will impact the later ones. This is an interesting question from Liana. I read somewhere that El Nino is strong and can cause bad weather this winter. Is that true? Well, each El Nino is going to be different, but typically they favor some pretty mild winters in the Ohio Valley. So, overall, more indications lead to warmer and less snow versus not that. So, great question. Let's see. Jason, I don't know where Fort Laramie is, and I don't know what day your forecast or the concert is. So I need a little bit more information to address that question. Liana, very welcome. Great to see old TK back on the air. Todd?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments in here, like asking about me. For those of you maybe not in Indianapolis or metro area or central Indiana, I come to BAM Weather from WRTV, where I was the last 16 years. The last I was there 13 years on the morning show, and the last year as the chief meteorologist. So I joined BAM Weather. Today's actually my third day. So it's my first live stream with you guys. So kind of seeing how you operate here and all the great information. So for all those of you asking questions there in the chat, which I didn't want to mess it up earlier by clicking on chat. I wasn't seeing it. And I was like, I don't want to ruin this first live stream we're doing. But I gambled and I clicked on it. So now I can see everything. So thank you to everybody welcoming me aboard. This will be my first of hopefully many chats. We don't obviously want severe weather, but we'll be for you when it does. Going forward, obviously, we always get lots of questions of when is this going to impact me, my area, and so forth. So, Matt, if you just want to back that up a little bit there on the model for those who just joining us kind of here mid live stream. Tomorrow's going to start off as a really typical summer day. We're going to have lots of sunshine. It's going to be warm. It's going to be muggy. And then kind of as we get into the evening, Matt, if you take that forward, you can see a few of those isolated cells developing out ahead of that heavier line right there that kind of comes in at 8, 9 o'clock. So if you have plans tomorrow, through the morning hours, you're just fine, early afternoon, but certainly as we get towards the latter half of the afternoon, we'll start to see some of those isolated storms develop. And then as you can see there on the model in the top right portion of your screen, by 9, 10 o'clock, the storms are more numerous here, making their way from west to east across central Indiana, with kind of a little more of a northeasterly component. As we've been talking about heavy rain, I always say that often gets forgotten when you're talking about severe weather, because heavy rain doesn't cause a storm to be severe. But obviously, flash flooding and flooding in general can cause lots of damage. And we've seen it all already. And then as we shift again into early Friday morning, it's going to become, guys, more of that heavier rain threat there closer to the Ohio River.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And unfortunately, flooding kills more people a year than that of a tornado. So please
tornado and lightning combined,
Yeah.
And, when I was at the news station, we would see video all the time of people standing on the roofs of their cars. You can say it so many times, but people always think I can get through this. I can get, plow through this water. And obviously you can't. So, and obviously then with flooding as well for home damage and stuff like that, it's often forgot about. So definitely need to take the precaution.
I love this comment from James. Now you are an official internet cowboy. Todd, you may not have any idea what that's in reference to, but
I don't, and I'm a little bit worried about what you're ready to tell me.
Well, it's nothing, no big deal. But a couple of winters ago, just making a forecast, and someone called us the internet cowboys of weather. So we kind of rode that for a winter. But yep, you're now one of the cowboys. And Todd, we get called worse. So
I've been called a lot worse. So I'm not worried about that.
We all have. We all have, and we'll continue to do so. But
not my first rodeo. If you want to stay on the
that's right. That's
the
right.
horse theme there.
Giddy up, everybody. That's right. No, and guys, again, I want to mention we have the 25% sale ongoing now. That QR code in the top right-hand corner gets you access to our application. That sale ends at midnight tonight. So now's the time to take advantage. You can follow along, track with us the weather. We've got all types of stuff going into the app, like Nowcast and customized alerts, and depending on what package you get multiple different other features as well. So BAM nailed the snowstorm forecast, and the TV guys were slightly offended. Yep, they were, James. So
I don't remember the event or whether I was offended, but I don't know.
I don't think Todd wasn't.
If I don't remember it, I must not have been too offended. So
yep. And this is the new one, Todd. The wannabe meteorologist. That's kind of the new thing we're going with. So when Michael gets back on here, he'll probably have that as his name, as he has the last couple times. Anyway, guys, John, Todd, do you have any kind of closing remarks for us before we hop off here? We just want to give everyone a quick update of what we can expect over the next couple of days with the weather.
I just wanted to comment again and say in my opinion, the flooding risks are really the main story. Of course, we need to keep an eye on the damaging wind, hail, a very isolated tornado risk for sure into tomorrow night. But that's what we do. Keep an eye on our social pages. Sign up, 25% off the BAM Weather app. We'll continue to keep you posted. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know about you, Matt, but I am super excited to have Todd aboard with us. He's going to be an excellent addition to our streams. And as someone that is, dare I say, younger, I am very excited to learn from someone that has this much experience in the field. So Todd, big welcome from me and the rest of our team.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you guys. It's great to be here, and you're going to teach me things as well. The gray hairs by no means mean that I know everything, but I'm super pumped to be here. Coming to you guys on a different platform, a little less buttoned up, and able to kind of talk a little more scientific talk here, diving into the models than I was always able to do on television. So I'm really excited, and everybody at BAM's been wonderful so far. To kind of get back to Matt's original question, final thoughts, and they're right in line with you guys. Kind of just gets messy here. I think that's the best word as we start to work our way into tomorrow afternoon and then into Friday morning and Friday afternoon. Flooding, I think, like John said, is our biggest concern. We will have to keep an eye on for some stronger wind gusts as we work our way through tomorrow evening, and kind of as you start to turn into head off to bed on Thursday evening into Friday. But tornadoes always grab the headlines. That threat looks really low here with this event, and so that's certainly good news.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate everyone for checking us out today. Again, that sale ends at midnight. Be sure to check that out. And who knows, we may go live again tomorrow just to kind of discuss things before things start to fire off. And we'll see if a more substantial threat evolves. We may end up going live for what I would call the main show. But at this point, it looks, John, I'd say unlikely at this point. But we'll be keeping a close eye. We've got meteorologists on staff 24/7, 365. So we're not going to let our guards down by any means with this upcoming system. Again, appreciate everyone. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we'll chat soon.
Thank you all.
Yep. See you guys.